Hey there, I'm Adrienne. Welcome back to Better Days Start Today. Today, we're going to talk about what we're trading off without even realizing it. So, it's the idea of opportunity cost, but applying it to our life, our decisions, our energy, our lifestyle. It's kind of interesting. And I've been having this conversation with a lot of women in my life, both friends and clients. So, I wanted to bring it to the podcast. To kick things off, we will talk about what opportunity cost is. So it's the value of what you give up when you choose one option over another. We could think about it in the terms of a benefit that we miss out on by choosing one path instead of an alternative. Here, we're applying that to our life and our goals. And we're doing this by considering what we're trading as far as emotional, relational, or lifestyle trade offs that come with every choice. And sometimes we don't always see what those things are. So it's not about what we're gaining by saying yes to something. It's about what we're giving up: time, connection, ease, flexibility, community in the process. And sometimes the trade off is worth it. If we want this goal and it's going to cost us these things, we're willing to do that. But other times, it's not clear what the trade off is, whether it's simply not obvious or we didn't look at it in terms of this, but we can sometimes wake up and have the goal that we wanted and realize that we haven't built the life that we wanted. So the intention of this episode is to get you thinking about what you're trading off so you can start examining what the invisible trade-offs might be before you commit to your path. Then you're choosing from a place of clarity. You know, if I go after these goals, these other things in my life potentially could change. And am I willing to do that? Yes or no? So you know exactly what you're choosing. We're going to look at the goals that we choose through a lens, not just by what we'll gain, but also by what it's going to cost us by choosing it. This can be obvious sometimes. If I go to the barbecue, I'm not writing tonight. If I stay up drinking, tomorrow's going to feel rough. When we're making in the moment choices, the trade-offs typically are very obvious. You know, if I make this decision right now, I'm not making that decision, or it's going to impact these things. But it can get tricky when we're thinking long-term decisions, long-term goals. And the reason is we don't always see the cost of our long-term decisions, our long-term goals. And like I said, sometimes that's because we're not examining it through that lens. And sometimes we can think that we know what the result or the outcome is going to be when we pursue something. But then as we're on the path, we see that things are turning out very differently than what we thought, what we predicted. Initially, it may feel like we're chasing a goal or we're following a path that seems right. It feels aligned. It's what we want. But if we don't weigh what that's going to impact, what it's going to cost us, then we may wake up one day wondering, how did I get here? Why does my life look like this? Yeah, I did this one thing, but nothing else fits the mold of what I wanted. Every yes is also a no. So every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So every choice, whether it seems small, maybe it seems monumental, it is shaping what your life looks like down the line. And again, in the moment, that can be very obvious. But if we really pay attention to what we're deciding, we can have an idea of what else may come into our life or leave our life as a result of that path. And I have found that in the pursuit of some of my goals, I achieved the goal. I did the thing I set out to do, but then my life doesn't always match what I want it to be, how I want to live. And it's because I made these incremental sacrifices over time to get the goal, not fully weighing what else that will impact. The short-term trade-offs, like I said, those can be very easy to identify. You're saying yes to hanging out with a friend, so you're saying no to solo time. You're signing up for a 6-week class, so you're saying no to travel flexibility. So we're usually good at weighing these costs. Again, when we're in the moment, when they're short-term trade-offs, they're pretty easy to see. We can see that exchange in real time. when we're thinking long-term goals, the trade-offs aren't always so obvious. Even if we do actually examine, like, what is this going to cost me over time? Sometimes it's just not possible or easy to identify what we don't know. If you're somebody that likes to tinker with AI a bit, go into the, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever else you might use, you can put this in and ask it, if I make this decision, what are some of the hidden costs I may not be weighing as far as my lifestyle? The thing is, we can be very focused on the gain when we are looking at goals that we want to pursue. And generally living in the gain versus the gap, right? Thinking about how far we've come versus how far we still have to go, that can create a very healthy mindset. So we're not always being hard on ourselves, not always being down on ourselves when we haven't quite gotten as far as we want to yet. But if we're just focused on the gain, the money, the success, the dream, we may not be fully considering the trade-offs. This might look like a job promotion, and it looks like freedom because you're going to have more money, you're going to have more autonomy within the job, but it comes with relocation. And you've been in this place for a long time and you don't actually want to change your scenery. You don't want to give up your in-person community. Maybe that's an obvious one, but maybe you're so fixated on that promotion that you don't give full weight to how your personal life is going to change as a result. Maybe you want to move to a beautiful, more remote area because you love the outdoors. You want to be around the mountains. You want to be by lakes. But maybe you're not considering the sacrifice of consistent social connection. This one stands out to me because I grew up in the city. And as an adult, I've lived in more remote places. And I would say when I was younger, I didn't necessarily notice that as much because I was a lot busier. As far as like, I always, had something to check off my list, something I was doing, something I was working on. And achievement was kind of a badge of honor for me. But now as I get older, I'm working on being in the journey a bit more, not necessarily having my sight set on that box that I want to check. It has become more obvious that the life I've chosen to be in places that are more outdoorsy definitely comes with a sacrifice of consistent social connection. It's just not the same as it is in a big city. I chose entrepreneurship because of the flexibility in time freedom and earning potential. And I was aware that I was trading stability for sure. But I would say I wasn't quite as aware of how much my social life would change. It might seem obvious to other people, but when I was making these decisions, I didn't consider the fact so much that I wouldn't be going to an in-person job where you have built-in friends and community there. Maybe that's something that's on the forefront of somebody else's mind as they're making the choice, but for me, it wasn't. And that's why I wanted to bring this up, is because when we're weighing a goal or a choice, we're kind of seeing it as we are rather than all of the potential impossibilities that could be there. So we may miss something that we're trading off simply because we're looking at it through our lens, our life experience, whereas somebody else, having had a different experience already, is going to weigh different factors that may not even register on your radar. We don't always ask ourselves, what else changes if I say yes to this? What am I unintentionally letting go of? And am I okay with that? A lot of times the answer is going to be yes, right? Like, you want this thing, and this pursuit of this one goal, that journey is going to impact all of these areas of your life, but that's impact that you want. Perfect. Charge on. But sometimes we're going to pursue that goal. And like I said, wake up and think like, how did I get here? Why does my life look like this? We tend to get tunnel vision when we're very goal focused. And I love a goal, gives us a roadmap, gives us something to work towards. But when we're focused on one thing, the title, the income, the dream life in our head, we dream of it and we see it as we think it will turn out, right? Like, we think, okay, if I do these things, this is going to be the result. But sometimes we're not fortune tellers. We don't always know what the result is going to be. It can be easy to overlook what we're giving up to get there, to get to the goal. And so, like I said, I've been talking to some different women in my life, both friends and clients, who have had these how did I get here moments. And as we're unpacking the conversation, the common theme through the different conversations was that it wasn't necessarily one big decision that kind of made their life unrecognizable. It was a slow accumulation of unexamined trade-offs. So as you're making decisions, as you are considering what you want to pursue, what path you want to go down, think about the opportunity cost as far as the emotional opportunity cost, the lifestyle opportunity cost, what you're giving up. And by that, I mean, emotionally, relationally, energetically, in the pursuit of the life you think you want. Ask some reflective questions. What am I willing to trade? What am I unwilling to trade? Is the path that I'm choosing still aligned with the life that I want to wake up to? So all this boils down to, like, if you're planning a goal, a big change, don't just consider the benefits of the journey and the achievement. And this isn't about that negative worst case thinking. This is just about being honest about the trade-offs. Take that second. What might this cost me? It's not a fear-based way. It's just a very conscious, intentional way of thinking of, if I go down this path, if I pursue this thing, these other things in my life may change as a result. I think it is about slowing down. We got to take a second to ask those couple extra questions to ensure that we're really making the decision that we want to make. None of this is about getting our decision making perfect. It's not about choosing the perfect goal that is going to suddenly make everything in your life so much better. It's just about choosing things with your eyes open, considering all of the other things that could be impacted. And again, of course, we can't know everything, but by taking the minute to think about, what else is this going to change? And am I okay with that? Then we're going down the path with more awareness, and we can be more intentional in the pursuit of what we want. I would encourage you to journal, use these questions that I brought up. What are you willing to trade? What are you unwilling to trade? Is the path that you're choosing aligned with the life you want to wake up to? What else is this costing me? Journal on some of those questions if you're making a big decision or if you're committing to a goal, and just be sure that it feels in alignment for you as you're doing it. As I weigh things, I'm examining these things as well, because I have fallen into this trap previously where I get so psyched on the things that I'm going to gain that I don't think about what are the things that are going to shift or that I'm going to lose, that I'm going to let go of as a result. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Some decisions are always going to bring things that we couldn't have necessarily seen before we set that path in motion, and that's fine. If you don't already have my Reimagine Your Life guide, I encourage you to grab it, download it. It'll be in the show notes. There's a link for it right there in the episode description. Click on it and, like I said, download it. It's got some great journaling prompts, and it has some prompts to use with AI to help you start considering what possibilities might be available to you that you haven't even thought of yet for your life. I'll put a prompt in the show notes as well for ChatGPT, so be sure to grab that. Could be pretty interesting just to see what maybe isn't at the forefront of your mind. I hope this has been helpful for you. Grab that guide, Reimagine Your Life, and we will talk soon. I hope you have an amazing week.
Thanks so much for spending time with me on Better Days Start Today. If you loved this episode, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the podcast, and leave a review. It helps more people find this space and start creating their better days too. And hey, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at adriancrowley.com. You'll get exclusive tips, tools, and access to complimentary events designed to support you every step of the way. Until next time, remember, your better days, they start today.